So I was inspired to buy Charlie Gold by one of my favourite perfume reviewers, Ruth Ann McKinnon, because she really, she's a real Charlie lover. She loves all the Charlies, or most of them at least, as far as I can see. And they are absolutely strong, long-lasting, affordable, and quite interesting perfumes. They get a bad rap because the original Charlie was kind of so synonymous with the 80s, and in the same way that the Giorgio Beverly Hills gets a bad rap. But I think in the same way, they're really powerhouse perfumes. They are full beast mode, I think, a lot of the Charlies. So they're incredibly good value. And, there's a reason they've been making these for, like decades, because people are obviously still buying them. And funnily enough, even though they look very dated, and the thing is, the bottles, let's be real, they do look a bit cheap. Even kind of the font, it's just it all just looks a little bit dated and a bit cheap, and it doesn't look particularly classy or like it's going to be very good quality. But in my experience, I think these are actually quite good quality perfumes. I mentioned, because I bought this one and then I bought red at the same time, so I've also got Charlie Red, and that's the one that reminds me of a purely floral and not so sweet and custardy version of Poem by Lancome. So this is going to have to go to another home anyway, because it just it's too similar to those florals without the part of that perfume that I really love. But I do actually think if you like a kind of bunch of yellow flowers, even though this is called Charlie Red, I do think it smells like yellow flowers, like so a big bunch of fresh flowers, and it's quite strong. Then I think that this is like a really good perfume. I think it's incredible value. It's only $5.99 for 100ml. So anyway, this is the other one that I got. Unfortunately, this one, although when I first spray it, there's something quite intoxicating about this. Unfortunately, as soon as it starts to dry down to the middle notes, I get too much peach. And something I have learned about myself is that peach with florals, when I can recognise it's peach, really freaks me out. It makes me feel uncomfortable immediately. And I sprayed this in the box just before doing it, and I'm already starting to smell those middle notes coming through. So when I started this video, wasn't feeling a bit queasy. Now instantly feeling a bit queasy, and it's actually a shame because so it hasn't got top, middle, and it's only got the notes that are in it. So I'll try and describe for this one which one I think comes through first. And when you first spray it, so I think the amber, cinnamon, caramel comes through quite quick in the beginning, and the cinnamon as well. So I think when I first sprayed it, this is a beautiful amber, and I don't normally like caramel, and if this didn't have peach, I think I'd like this perfume. So it's a bit unfortunate because the apricot doesn't have the same quite the same effect, I don't think, as a peach does in a perfume. But yeah, it smells like a warm toffee caramel, kind of spiced ambery smell when you first spray it. Really quite pretty and really warm and inviting and cozy. And then I start getting the peach and the orange, and then it gets more fruity, and the more fruity it gets, the less I like it. So again, that is partially my fault because I should have noticed this had peach in it, and then I should have instantly been like, this isn't going to be for me, because again, like sweet caramelly type, because this isn't ridiculously sweet, it just has a bit of a caramelly sweetness to it, caramelized I would call this. But yeah, it gets way more fruity. If this didn't have it didn't have the plum, the peach, and the orange in it, if it just had the apricot to kind of mix in with the florals and the woody kind of cinnamon and sandal woodiness, I'd like it better. Because there are really nice elements of this that I think are lovely, but I just can't get on board with how peachy it is. And if I haven't worn it on my skin, because if it freaks me out this much when it's in like just a smell around me, I know it's not going to work for me. I'm not going to do such a turnaround. So anyway, if I actually read you the full notes. So the full notes are amber, apricot, cinnamon, caramel, sandalwood, peach, cloves, plum, rose, jasmine, musk, orange, freesia, violet and cedar. So let me just try and have a woof. I'm doing it for you guys. There are so many nice things about this. I think the violet gives it a slight sharpness that stops the caramel, making it so sweet. I can't really recognise much of the other florals, to be honest. It's just slightly flowery, a little bit spicy, super warm, a bit creamy from the caramel and the sandalwood. I mean, the colour of this one, the colour of the actual juice is a good representation of the kind of smell you're going to get with this. And I do think it's really pretty. And genuinely, I'm probably even be all right with the plum, but I think the peach and the orange mixed in with the caramel is just making this a little bit queasy for me. But absolutely hand on heart, if you do not have a problem with peach in perfumes, this is such a nice perfume. This is one of those perfumes that I absolutely believe if it was in a different bottle and it was by like one of the more famous brands, people would be going nuts for it. I think it's actually that kind of pretty of a perfume. It's also, it's like a really beautiful autumnal perfume. Like you could totally wear this in winter, maybe a bit much for summer, but like it's not so thick and heavy that you could only wear this in winter. I think this is probably like a beautiful, it has got that kind of, if you're looking for like a Halloweeny, autumnal kind of warm, spicy perfume, but you don't want anything that's like full on like opium or obsession, or actually even the one I like, the Bill Blass Hot. If you want something lighter, this is really good. But